Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Pearls and Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Kahala, and I'm your host. And let me start by saying Merry Christmas to all of our political pearls and gents all around the world. This is our last episode before the Christmas holiday, and so we want to say that we hope that you all have a safe and very Merry Christmas. Today, we are starting our journey of Black business and Black woman-owned business today. And we have a guest that is returning, and we're so excited, and we have someone special that's joining her. We have Joslyn Sandifer of Sandifer and Associates. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, and you look fabulous in your red diva.
Oh, thank you. Ooh.
Okay. And with her, we have Maurche Belk.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Associates, and Belk knows best.
Yes.
And we love it. And so we are so happy to have y'all with us today to talk about Black business, Black law firm business, and then just some other relevant topics that are going on in the world today. So, again, we're so happy to have you. So let's start. So we've done our introductions. And so the world already knows how we know each other. Mm-hmm. Maurche, how do we know each other?
Well, you are my soror.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we actually met at a chapter meeting. And then you were the circuit clerk when I was a public defender in St. Clair County. So we've had a lot of time to get to know each other on a personal level, sorority level, and a business level.
That's right. And so give your chapter a shout out, since we've already made it clear that she's an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman. Give your chapter a shout out, ma'am.
Delta Delta Omega, where I am the incoming first vice president.
Yes, you are. Yes. And we love it. And I've already called you a diva. Are you a member of a Greek letter organization?
I am a legacy of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I am a member of the East St. Louis Alumni Chapter, East SLAC, where I am serving as chaplain for the next 2 years.
Oh, okay, chaplain. So we got officers in the house.
That's
I'm
right.
loving it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Pray in season and out.
Yes, that's Well, we are so happy to have you back with us today, and to have you with us today because we just have so much that we want to talk about. So, we have very strong relationships, all three of us, and we are all members of the Sisters in the Law. Our clique, ain't nobody messing with our clique,
That's
okay?
right.
Nobody.
Absolutely.
Nobody.
Absolutely not.
So we have amazing women in the law, Black women in the law, from the bench to council table.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just love all things Black girl magic lawyer,
Yes.
Black lawyers matter. We love all of
That's
it.
right.
Yes.
That's
We
right.
love all of it. And so today we're going to talk about Black business, and what better place to start than with the Black woman law firm.
Yes. All right.
So it didn't start there. It started in the trenches.
Right.
It started in private practice. It started, in government, right? In public servant,
Yeah.
Type of lawyering. And then for you as well. But then you said, what did you say one day? And you was like, oh, it needs to be a law firm.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know that I said one day it needs to be a law firm as much as maybe it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, or people were like, hey, you need to have a law firm. But
Absolutely.
there was definitely a time or a space where it was like, we can do this. And obviously I started Sandifer and Associates with a partner. And at the time, we both just kind of thought we could do this. And we were working for another firm. And the reality is I was trying to make that other firm what I wanted my own firm to be. I didn't recognize that, but I had all these ideas, and I'm like, we can do this or that. And those were really the seeds of my own firm. Little did I know. And we said we could do it. We felt like our clients could get very good and competent representation, and like, why not just start? And in 2017, that's what we did. We hung the proverbial shingle, dropped the Facebook post,
yesterday.
and
and blew up the whole baby blew up the internet. You hear me? The internet.
Send folks to their phones, to their people, and we're like, hold up, what are these black girls doing? So yeah, we started there, and I feel the same way I felt then. They needed our people need good representation. We can provide good representation, and that's what we're doing.
That is awesome. It seems like yesterday. I can't believe it was 2017.
Yes.
So it's been 5 years.
We hit the benchmark. 5 years. We've made it. Essentially, that's a mark for all small businesses to get to, because most startups fail within the first 5 years, and so we crossed over that Jordan in August of this year.
Congratulations. I'm so proud of you,
Thank you.
and everything that you've done and everything that you're going to do. It's amazing when you talk about benchmarks, because it's a much shorter benchmark for podcasting. So there are, like they said, a couple million podcasts that are like on the books, but there are only about 400,000 that actually are like consistently active.
Right.
And it's the 7-episode mark is the milestone mark. And so we are like way past 20 episodes at this point. I'll never forget, I think I released episode 20 and I did the Snoop Dogg gif where he dancing. And I'm like, that dance you do when you've released 20 episodes coming this Friday. So I feel you on that. That is a weight.
Yeah.
Even if it's just psychological or like an emotional weight that's lifted, because you're like, okay, I made it over the hump, the 7-year itch, or whatever it is. So that is amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
And so you've been with Sandifer and Associates for how long now?
Going on 3 years? Yeah. Yes, going on 3 years.
Going on 3 years. So tell us
going on 4 years. 4 years.
I think, because 2020, we're in 2022. Yeah, so we're going into 2023.
Yeah.
Man.
Wow. Well, tell us about Maurche, because you have so much. You are so, you have so much going on, and you are so full of life and energy and magic. And honey, you were just all things you. So we want to hear all about you.
Okay, what about me? Okay, so I am one of 4 siblings. I'm the best one, the favorite one, the golden child. You know what they say, the firstborn daughter, granddaughter, niece. We just wear our crowns just a little bit differently. What can I say? Very active in AKA, probably too active. But but I have a great time doing it, and I really, really, really have come to a place in my life where it's balanced back out. And I think that was a big focus for me once I turned 30. I am 33. But when I turned 30, I wanted to get myself back in a space where I was doing everything that I wanted to do, but when I wanted to do it on my terms. And when Joslyn did call me to offer me the job, when we were actually talking and doing my interview, I guess it was an interview, we was eating sushi. Black girl magic stuff.
I love it. I love it.
And I was just like, I just want to be able to have some type of freedom over my career and an ability to be in a place where I could learn and I can just grow into being me, not only as an attorney, but me also as a woman. And we've definitely fostered that type of relationship throughout the firm. And that's allowed me to learn how to set boundaries and, do things I don't think that necessarily my peers in my age bracket are able to do within their careers, because that type of flexibility and boundaries there allow me to set those same tones in other areas of my life. I do Belk Knows Best, where I do drop legal tips ever so often, and I like to let the people know what exactly we're doing there.
The Pros and Politics podcast. Yes, we do.
Because, sometimes we don't want to pat our own selves on the back. And even though we're very humble, we work hard. And sometimes you do that and you forget. So you have to tell the world that, because in this type of business, it is very much still word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
And so we want to make sure, especially me being 33, and she's made her mark and I'm still making mine. They know who Joslyn Sandifer is. I want that same impact to be for Maurche Belk. And it's just, I've been having a great time. I have you all, the rest of the sisters-in-law to lean on. But I think for 33, I am doing it. I am well-rounded. bit more well-rounded than I thought I would be. You know, when you're in your 20s, you think 25, you're supposed to know everything, have everything. And I had fun at 25. But at 33, when I get up in the morning, I'm just beyond grateful that I'm in the space and places I am in my life.
You are doing an amazing job. Let me say that we are all very connected, all of us.
Yes.
And so we follow each other, we cheer each other on, we bless each other with wisdom and all types of things. And I have watched you from the chapter meeting that I met you, from your time as a public defender, even in my husband's courtroom. And I've watched you grow under her leadership and within her law firm. And to just watch you blossom has just been such a blessing, because I'm like, okay, she like been out here trying to be grown. Okay, we grown.
Hey, Maurche is a beast. I mean,
Honey.
I mean, obviously, I'm proud of the woman that she's become, but I'm really proud of the lawyer, the attorney, the counselor that she's become, and she does things her own way. And that is a
You do.
You know, our clients, they get, I don't know, they like it, love it. You know, Maurche, now that I'm getting older, she always says, like, Josh, you too nice to these clients. You know, I need to tell them in a way they can understand and they can comprehend. I come in like they sister, you come in like they mama. But I mean, I'm so proud of the way that she looks at information, the way she dissects it and disseminates it and then gives it back to our clients, and how hard she works really for the dispositions that she gets. And so, you know, it's not just because she works for Sandifer and Associates. You know, people, attorneys and prosecutors and judges see her as a formidable opponent in her own individual right, and that just makes me so happy. You know, they claim I'm trying to push them out the door, but I know that they have their own desires and dreams and hopes and aspirations, and as much as I would love for them to stay with me forever, I know that they're going to go on and do greater things, because I see that potential in them. And I'm just excited to be able to say, like, oh yeah, she once worked for me, whatever she decides to do, you know, in the future, because she's definitely an awesome advocate and attorney, and it's great to see.
And you're very well rounded. So that's something else. We love to encourage each other, because there's so much going on in the world that tears us down, and we always want to lift each other up. And also, like you mentioned, that you are very active in Alpha Kappa Alpha, and I watch that. Like, you be on the move, like you out here working, you putting in that work, so nobody can say that you don't love AKA, nobody can say that you're not putting in the work, nobody can say that you don't deserve where you are, because of the work that you put in. So when you get to those levels of office, it's usually somebody that you can look at and be like, "Who they give their time to Alpha Kappa Alpha." And so I appreciate that as your soror, to be able to look and say, "Whoa, I wish I had that kind of time," or that kind, because you know, with the little, and enjoy that, because when you get married and you got 3 small children, they need you. Your husband needs your attention. Your kids need your attention. So it's going to get divided. So while you can give everything you got to these clients, give it. While you can give everything you can to your sorority, give it. Because there will come a time that you're going to have to, you know, I think, what was it? One of our most recent past regional directors was like, oh, don't let Alpha Kappa Alpha cause you your marriage now.
Ooh, no.
So, you know, it's all about perspective, you know, and you don't want your kids to be like, oh, well, mom went around, but she was the biggest AKA there was in the region. You know, it's all about balance. And I think that you're doing that well. And I love how unapologetic you are.
Oh, always.
It did not... it took me a long time to get to that space. So I just turned 45 on December 18th. And it took a while for me to get there. And it took a lot of life challenges, circumstances, situations, people coming against me, and then God delivering me in every circumstance to get to that place. I can't imagine. I don't know if somebody could stand. If I had come into that place of confidence and confidence at 33,
man, That's why she busting doors.
I can't even
And
speak.
this is still the tamer version.
Yeah.
I have recently reread some of the things I journaled, and I was like, whoo. I don't know what was going on in 2019, but I felt like the She-Hulk in every room I stepped in.
Well, and that's one of my favorite newer posts on social media. You better walk in that room like God sent you.
Yes.
Right, absolutely.
And that every rip now, I'm walking into the room like God sent me, because ultimately He did.
He did,
Whatever
yeah.
room I'm going in, He sent me there. And
Yes.
so I'm going to walk in there like He sent me, like the She-Hulk.
Yes.
And then that's going to be our new thing, the She-Hulk, you
Right.
know? And that's just going to be what it is. So I love the space that you're in, and I have no doubt that we will always remain humble, that we will always love the Lord and, you know, do the things that we need to do and focus on family and other things when we need to. But you got to flip that switch sometime. Like when
Yes.
you go into that courtroom, okay, husband, I love you, kids, y'all at school. It's Hulk time. It's time to Hulk
That's
smash
right.
up in here. And so that's what we going to do. And then your dispositions. Again, both of you and Cherie work so hard. And I watch it, because all lawyers are just like anything else. All lawyers are not created equal. I said what I said. Okay.
Well.
I've been doing this almost 20 years now, so I can say what I say. But I see the way you all care, and I know that's part of your motto and your mantra, like lawyers that care.
That's right.
Yes.
And I see the way that you care, and it literally manifests itself in the dispositions that you get and the way that the community loves you. Like, it's not just your clients, like the community loves you. You added Cherie
Yeah.
this year.
That's right.
And broke the internet again. Like it broke the internet again. The community likes, loves, shares, like word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I know my husband be like, oh, she love her some. Your name and your firm stay in my mouth. Folks be like, oh, Sandifer and Associates.
Right. Thank you, Lord.
Okay.
And if they don't do it, they'll let, because now it's hard. Like for so many years, the Supreme Court under rule prohibited circuit clerks from
Right.
referring. So that was hard for 10 years, because folks would call me and I'd be like, and I put in writing, I'm so sorry. When they come in my messenger, that's why I stopped doing messenger, because my
Right.
messenger used to be lit.
I bet.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And for the purposes of a trail, I am so sorry, pursuant to Supreme Court rule, I can't refer. Well, now I can do that, and I just celebrated 1 year on my new job. And
Yes.
it's been a great year, but now I can refer. So when I remember that I can refer,
Right, thank
Sandifer and
you.
Associates, and I'm like, oh, call, and then tell them, Carla, just so you know, you can get through. You know,
That's right. And now listen, that makes a difference. You might call, like, oh, that's not something we handle. But they said Kahala referred them. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and talk to you.
Yeah. We gonna talk to her, and if she needs to send you somewhere, she gonna send you somewhere
That's right.
good. And if she handles it, they will handle it, and it's gonna be handled.
That's right.
Yes.
It's gonna be handled.
It's going to be handled. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So you talked about why a law firm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, give us a little bit more about what you felt the need was.
So when we started, where we felt the need was, and really is educating our clients. I mean, I think that's kind of what sets us apart, because when we talk to our clients, most people have never been through a process like the criminal justice system throws at you when it comes to the criminal aspect. Now, personal injury as well, but most people just have never engaged with the law. And if they have, they were third parties, or they did so at arm's length. And so what we really felt like was, if we could provide good education. When you come to our firm, we're not going to just take your case. We're literally going to educate you about the legal process, whether we're doing a criminal case, we're doing a family case in some instances, or we're doing personal injury.
He gets on me about that.
Listen, we are going to educate you about the law, because if you're educated, you can then make better choices. And that's where we saw a need. Our community, they didn't know if they were getting good dispositions or not. People say, oh, yeah, I went back to this firm or that firm because they got me probation. But it was a conviction. It was your first time, and there was a way that you could have avoided that. Or you only did a few years. But it's the education piece, right? Because if you know the things that you're supposed to get or what opportunities and advantages are out there for you, then you can make a sober choice. And I tell clients when they call, and sometimes there are potential clients, they're on the fence, and it's like, I don't know. I'm like, go check.
Yes.
Go check. Ask around. Go talk to another attorney. And I'll wait to hear back from you in a couple of weeks or the next day, matter of fact. But the education piece actually is the difference because when you're educated, you make great choices. And sometimes that choice may not mean that we end up being the person that represents you. And that's actually fine because our desire is for each individual to get a good result, whether it's with us, and we firmly believe it would be with us. But if you don't, if based on what you now know, you say, I want to enter into a different type of attorney-client relationship, I want a different type of dynamic, then that is understandable. But at least you have the knowledge base to make that choice, and you should be confident that you're making the right choice, not just because of the finances, not just because your mama hired this man, 10 years ago and she helped my brother. No, because you have the knowledge to make the best choice. So that was the thing that we were looking to do, educate. And we felt like through education that we would ultimately get and sustain having a firm and have clients and recurring clients. And that's exactly what happened.
That is exactly what happened. I love your brand. So it is very distinct. And your logo. So where did that come from? So we are helping people build business because that's what we want. We want all people to build business, but we also know, we're just going to be honest, that Black business has not always received the funding, the education, and the marketing of other businesses. And so that's part of what we're doing here at Pros in Politics Podcast is promoting business.
Yeah.
And you need certain things. You need an LLC or some type of, established, partnership or something like that. You need logos and branding. You need marketing. So your logo is very distinct.
Yes,
and it is folks know, that's Sandifer and Associates.
That's right.
So where did that come from? Was it something that you saw in your head? Was it something that a very special someone was like, who is very special to us as well? Here, probably. Where did your brand come from?
So our brand is really a manifestation of words spoken to the imagination, right? So I talked to my brother, Joseph Alexander Anthony IV, who owns J-Light Publication, and I really just talked to him about what I wanted, what we wanted at the time. And he said, okay, well, I have some ideas. And what we wanted to look established because we were, and we wanted to be taken seriously because we were serious. And
I love it.
So like I said, it was just that word spoken to imagination. He had a number of different options at the time, and we went through them, and we just really finally landed upon one that we felt like was really distinct from those options. Now, the We Work Hard and the Lawyers That Care, I would say that it was a joint collaboration because it's just what we do. It's like legitimately the thing.
We said it daily.
That we say it daily.
So organic.
And we just started, we was just like, okay, that's a hashtag because it's actually what we do.
Yes.
We work hard and we care. And so that wasn't initially a part of our branding, but it's definitely become a part of our hashtag and branding. And I can't remember where it came from, but it's just like literally what we do.
We were just talking in the office. That's it. Just talking in the office.
And probably, we have these many discussions about, how difficult it is for us to get sometimes the same dispositions that other people get and how we have to work and maneuver. And I don't know, we work hard.
We do. We really do.
Yes,
and we care. And so those things weren't initial. I definitely know that it was after working with Maurche that became a part of our branding tagline.
It's definitely a part because what I started with that. Like before you ever spoke a word of it, that is literally who you are, the lawyers who care. And whether it's somebody who follows you closely, because I stand for Sandifer and Associates, or if it's somebody who has just been a client or had a family member, I think the way that you all have branded yourselves and the way that you market yourselves has been very instrumental in your success. And that is what people think. They think, oh, that's where Maurche is. That's where Cherie is. That's Joslyn's firm. That's that Joslyn lady. Yeah, that's her. And she helped my cousin. And they're the lawyers who care. So I want you to know, if you didn't know, because sometimes you're so close to it, you can't see it for yourself. But literally, that might as well had been right there with the blue letters and the white background, because that is how you were known to the community as the lawyers who care. And anybody with some eyes and some sense can see that you all work very hard.
Yes.
So what's next? Like,
What do you think is next?
what I mean, you do a lot in the community, right? Because we partnered together for the annual. It's going to be annual. That's not going to change. The annual voter registration drive, and you just do a lot.
Yeah.
What's next? What should we be looking for? I know you just added Cherie, less than a year's time. What we doing next?
Well, we're doing so many things. One big thing is we're moving to a new location in Fairview Heights.
Y'all love the way we segued right into that.
Yeah, so we're moving into a new location, and I think that it'll be really good for us. A lot of people that we have as clients take that road. It will be off Lincoln Trail to take that off, and so we're going to do that. In this upcoming 2023, we really want to put emphasis on our personal injury aspect of our firm. We do handle criminal work, and I don't want to say tireless area of work, but it is definitely one that commands and demands a lot of your time. But as lawyers that care for the community, we do want to also segue into promoting the other things that we do, and we work really hard in personal injury work as well. So I know next year we're going to be really focused on that as well, making sure we up our branding and our advertisements in reference to our personal injury aspect. And who knows, maybe adding another attorney or adding more staff, because I see us as a powerhouse in the community. We have great lawyers that work really hard. And I just think everybody should experience, having one of us work with them at some period of time.
Can you imagine the if the trifecta, that's what they call themselves, if the trifecta actually had a case so big that the trifecta had to come together?
Had to show up?
Ooh-wee. That would be scary.
That wouldn't be She-Hulk. That would be like Voltron. Like everybody don't know about that Voltron.
No,
that would be like Voltron. So,
yeah, that's how we work through our cases, though.
Yeah, we work very much in tandem. And I tell clients that all the time. I'll touch a case, Giles will touch a case, now Cherie will touch a case. In the past, though, when it was just me and Giles, we would go to court, and if we were in the courthouse at the same time, they really thought we was coming up there for some particular reason together. And they'd be like, "Oh, did you know Giles was here?" And I'm like, "Cause she has her own docket, and I have my docket. We're not coming up here to do any powerhouse scene together. We are
coming off the ropes like what?
Today we'll be back, but that's not the purpose of today." But it's we very closely in tandem. If a client calls and they've exclusively been working with Joslyn or myself, one of us are able to pick up the phone, answer the same questions. We communicate very effectively. We try our best. I know that we give out our work number probably more than we should to our clients, so they reach us on the weekends and sometimes after 5. But that goes into being lawyers who care, because sometimes even though we know it's nothing we can do at 9:00 at night, you might need that comfort of saying, "Hey, I got to reach out to my attorney and this situation happened today," and I'm able to at least put them at ease until we can, talk once business hours open, once the courthouse is open and things of that nature. But it's definitely a place. I know when COVID shut down, we transitioned really easily during the pandemic because most of our stuff we did virtual anyway.
Yeah.
So our secure portals, our texting was up, our email game is probably a little too strong. We do have to separate ourselves from our work phones. And then we brought the Zoom discovery reviews. I do know that we were one of the first firms to start doing that, and that gave clients an opportunity to, go through the evidence of their case, put their mind at ease, since they can't come to the courthouse anymore, since they can't come into the office and touch their files, we can at least share it on the screen. And that helped us facilitate a lot of dispositions that may have otherwise taken a year or so because of the pandemic, because we started that platform so early on in COVID. It was like, hey, we can do a Zoom meeting. We can do Zoom consultations. Yeah. So now I tell people all the time, it's like a hybrid firm.
Yeah.
We have select things that we still do in the office, but for the majority, I tell them, Sandifer and Associates, we can work and pull up our laptops and run the firm in Bermuda if we wanted to, just because that's the type of firm we have now.
And I love that, the ability to pivot, because that kind of goes into, my next question that I was going to ask as we close just this part about us talking about business, the ability to be able to pivot, because that's what we love to use that word here, because life comes at you so fast.
That's right.
And whether it's a pandemic or maternity leave or whatever, or you want to go to Bermuda, Dubai, whatever it is, you have to be able to take life's challenges.
Yes.
And be able to navigate through them. And if you cannot do that, your business will not survive. So that's why we see so many businesses that didn't make it through the pandemic. Not always because of their own fault, but sometimes it was, you had to be able to make that shift.
That's right.
In a industry or in a particular company or business that you could do that. And for you all to say, look, we saw it, like we were actually doing it early.
Yes.
And this provides, better service to our client, showing that we care that much more. It makes it that much easier. Because what I learned in 10 years as the clerk is so many people don't understand. Even the simplest parts of it. And that's not an insult, or that's not saying anything. Like, I don't understand how to construct a bridge. Like, I don't understand how to fight fires. Like, I don't understand how to do breast cancer surgery. Like, I don't understand those things. But to have somebody that can say, okay, I'm going to bring you along and I'm going to take you on my side and we're going to navigate this together and I'm going to educate you. And in the process of doing all that, when the trials of life come or something happens, we are able to come together. The trifecta can come together and say, okay, we gotta evolve. We have to shift. And then you're still a thriving business to continue to meet the needs of the community.
Right. And to bring the community with us, right?
Yes.
Because Zoom wasn't an easy transition for everyone, right? So, we had some.
I was still the clerk in 20.
We were doing
challenging.
tutorials. Please download
call
the app. This is how you do it. You have to walk them through it. But our biggest thing since the inception of the firm, even though I wasn't there, but I know Joslyn's heart, was to make sure that we're on the same page. So in our communications with potential clients, the first thing we say is this is a two-way street. The attorney-client relationship, it is action-packed, but we gonna do it together. It is. It's gonna be some curves, and you're gonna be uncomfortable, and you're not gonna understand why I'm calm. But I'm calm because this is what I do for a living. And I expect you to get upset. I expect you to be confused. But trust me and allow me to guide you through it. And you have to know, you can pick up the phone, and you can call, and we're gonna answer any questions. But you have to be an active participant. Yes. Because there's gonna be some things that I can do as your attorney, but it's going to be some things I cannot do without you. And so once you let them know from the beginning, hey, you have to participate. If it's ever a level of confusion, hey, let's look back. Let's see how engaged you have been since day one. Let's go back and look at the messages. Let's go back and look at the call logs, just so we can see maybe where the miscommunication came. But then let's grab you from where you at, because I don't have a problem repeating myself. So let's go back at the moment I lost you and let me bring you up to today. And I think that that's the biggest thing about the ability to pivot in a pandemic, when you cannot face to face with people in a time in their lives where they are really struggling. You know, most of them have not been through the process. So now I'm giving you all this new information, and I can't talk to you in the way that I want to talk to you. And phone calls, that probably would have just been boring. Yeah, that would have been just boring. So
to read, discovery.
Yes.
You can't show pictures. I'm trying to describe it.
Yes,
to you.
no.
And
So
you can't keep somebody's focus.
no.
You
So-
wouldn't have mine. I would have put you on speakerphone. I'd be walking all over the house.
Yes, we are both walkers. So let's take this
I'll
10
walk in
minutes
my
to do the
office.
Zoom tutorial to get you
Yes.
on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember the Illinois Supreme Court, the Commission on Access to Justice, gave the actual color 8.5 by 11 front for Zoom for a computer, back Zoom for your cell phone.
Yes.
When I tell you that was an extremely trying time
Oh, absolutely.
for the circuit clerk's
I can
office,
only- yes.
Zoom and the pandemic and all of that, it was very challenging. Now, obviously, we navigated through it.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
But it was a process, and it was a long one, and it was a hard one, and now it's heck.
Yeah, and it was unpredictable. I think that was the other thing. You're balancing. So we're not just attorneys. I mean, obviously, people have always heard attorneys and counselors at law, but we have you on the council, and maybe it's not always intentional, but that is an aspect that people need. They do need counseling. They need to know, what, these things are going to be okay. We are going to work through them. Like Maurche said, you might not understand why I'm calm, but it's my job to process this information and then give it to you in a way that's going to keep you relaxed and focused and in a space where you can make decisions. And unlike other firms, we're not going to just hand you a disposition. And that is a difference. Sometimes our clients aren't used to having to work for an outcome. And I tell people, Maurche's heard it a million times, if you want something extraordinary, you have to do something extraordinary.
Yes,
And
I
so
love it.
when our clients come in and they say, I'm charged with this thing, I'm accused of this thing, and I want a disposition that's kind of like outside of the realm of maybe what they're entitled, it doesn't mean we can't get it, but there's a lot of work to be done that can't just happen with the three of us, right? That you're going to have to be involved.
Responsible for
And
it.
responsible.
Yeah,
We don't
exactly.
know about your mental health conditions. We don't know about your physical limitations. We don't know about the things that happened to you as a child. We don't know all of the mitigating circumstances that exist in your life that may potentially have an impact according to the statute.
We
with
don't know
regards
your
to
aggravating circumstances.
either. We don't.
Folks love to leave that out.
They want to leave that out.
until you get slapped in the face with it, and court be like,
Why
"What?
you
You
didn't tell me?" So we make our clients, and that sometimes some clients don't like that, but we do make our clients participate.
Yes.
And we tell them the more you participate, the better our advocacy can be. Because when I know you, I can talk from a space that no one else can.
Yes.
And that's really the key. We can talk with passion and fervor and really communicate effectively the person that you are as an individually, because our relationship has developed in such a way that we can effectively communicate that information through.
You can effectively advocate.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Advocacy. Now, we all know that. Oh, hold on.
Go ahead, get it together.
Advocacy. So we've talked about the business, and you all have hit it solely on the head with counseling, counselor, heavy on the counselor. You both, like myself, are advocates.
Yes.
Even outside of the legal field, advocates for women, for children, for the African American community. We are now past the election, and it's back to business as usual. Why can it no longer be back to business as usual?
You can start.
You want me to start? Okay. I almost want to say it's obvious, but I don't want to undermine some of the, social and psychological circumstances that keep people from understanding how important it is to be an active participant in their own lives and in their own communities, but also to understand that really the way I feel like the country is, and I'll even start with just our community and surrounding areas, there are these forces that don't want to have level playing fields. And you take for granted the ideological balance of justice by not participating. And when you have such a heavy offensive that's making its way to not only try to retain power, but keep inequities in place, then you really are doing yourself a disservice. And one reason why you can't say it's no longer business as usual is because guess what? It's not. People are actively working to disenfranchise us, to keep us from being able to take advantage of opportunities that new laws have come to try to give us. We were having conversations about gerrymandering earlier, and these things happen on small scales. And gerrymandering is just a political science term that means that redistricting is happening to favorably keep in power people who are likely already in power. And it is illegal when it disproportionately gives weight to one vote while simultaneously taking away the weight of another. And those things are happening right underneath our noses because we have not always been active participants. So no, there's no way to go back or to have business as usual because there is no business as usual. There are people that are actively working to keep an advantage they already have or get an advantage that they feel like that belongs to them. And so if you go back to the same sedentary mindset, you will look up, and because you've done nothing, you won't have what you always had, you'll have less.
Yeah.
You'll have less. So, no. Get up.
And I tell people all the time, particularly in this last election cycle, we had so much to gain. However, the flip side to that is if you have much to gain, you have much to lose.
That's right.
And I said it till I couldn't say it anymore, till my lips were chapped, till I didn't have a voice anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep saying it. Folks are like, oh, now, whew. Now my mailbox is happy, okay? My YouTube viewership is happy, right? But now that it's no longer an election, that doesn't stop us
Right.
from having real conversations, real advocacy. It doesn't stop us from working in our communities to enlighten and inform, to let people know that 2 years will be back around really quickly.
Really quickly.
Yes.
Really quickly. So every U.S. house, every state house, the people who are on a 4-year cycle that weren't here this time will be on the 4-year cycle. They'll be back up next time. Just a lot of different things that you can address on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be every second November.
Yeah, and people who have an agenda are already working. They're already planting seeds, right, that they can later water. They're already making suggestions about the way things are and the way that things could be. So they're never in a space where they're laying off.
No.
Right? They're always in a space where they're planting seeds so then they later can water, so then that they later can gather. And so if we take the mindset where, we need to just gear up as we get close, then we're going to always be behind the A ball.
Always.
Because people are yet making announcements, people are yet gathering people and having rallies and keeping certain frustrations up in order to be able to maximize their exposure at the right time. So, we can't rest. And this whole the criminal justice aspect of it takes so long for years to be passed. It takes so long and once we get them passed, for us to even know how they're going to affect us. We got some really big changes coming up in Illinois coming in January.
Ooh, don't I know?
And I don't even know how they're going to affect all of us. And there's going to be lots of litigation involving so many things. So that's why we can't, there's no time to rest, really.
And when it comes to the changes that will be coming in January and anything like that, I think what has challenged me in my current role has been the misinformation. On January 1, everybody, all the bars is dropping it. But what I have done in my space has been to, when people come to me, I will never forget, I was on a call with a gentleman and he was reaching out to his rep and, all these other things. And, there was this case. And the individual was charged, tried, convicted, sentenced, and serving a sentence in prison. Not it's still pending, but it was over. Like the kids, I need people to stop with that. Like and so I took the time to have a conversation with this gentleman and explain bail reform is something different than the person is literally serving a sentence. And it's not the same thing, but I understand that the group that you're listening to is all about the jail dropping and everybody running out and all of this. And I took the time to actually sit on the phone, engage him professionally, explain the differences, what the nuances were. And by the time we got off the phone, he was thanking God. I just thank God that you were in the position that you're in to be able to have this conversation and let people know. I said, and that is what I'm doing. That is what I do. That's always been what I've done. I always want people to be educated and informed.
Yeah.
So instead of going to a ballot box and always pulling a designation, you actually know what the person stands for, who they are, and then you're like literally voting now on merit and like who's the better person.
Right.
Because so many times, I mean, look at Georgia. Look at just this last cycle.
Right.
It's no longer about, who would be the better person. It's just, I don't care how crazy they are. I don't care how much they've done this or that. I don't care if they say they're against this, but it keeps coming up that they may have done just that.
Crazy.
But you want to, because, and again, keeping power, holding on to, and we just have to be able to say, okay, how can you do really well from your Facebook and you do as well. I have this platform for a reason.
That's right.
But I also have a job that I'm like, okay, my job is to get up every day, be my best, operate in excellence, and make sure that I am doing what is called of me today, no matter what it is, to return these calls, to respond to these emails, to, rewrite these, rules or whatever the situation may be so that they're not archaic. They match what is coming in January and all those things, to just be able to tell somebody, because I assure you that the person on that line may have heard the name Kahala or may have had one view or one opinion, but by the time I got done, it didn't matter what they thought my party designation may have been or how they thought I felt about criminal justice reform. What mattered was, okay, so this person that has harmed my family is not, the jail doors are not dropping. And
That's
know
right.
what? They never were.
Never.
They never were, but I'm calling all over trying to make sure that it's not going to happen when it never was going to happen.
Never was going to happen.
And if people could just stop that, stop scaring people, stop misleading people for your agendas or what, no, just give people information. What do we say here? We are all about political information, not misinformation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we all know in 20 that the African American community, the statistics have shown it, the misinformation was directed at us. Literally, people got up in the morning and said, I'm going to mislead black people today.
Yeah, absolutely. However I can.
And some people bought it, some people didn't. But we have a duty. It may be an unfair, unjust duty, or that we're putting on ourselves to be like, oh, well, I guess this is my new job then. But I just can't sit here and watch any people, black, white, red, brown, no matter, men, woman, young, old, rich, poor. I just can't sit and watch people be misinformed. That's just not in me.
Yeah, and I think if you decide that you're going to be a professional, a black professional, you decide that you're going to take on some of what that means. And everybody, some people say, well, I'm just this or I'm just that. But it's difficult because our community, we're always looking to have someone either take the lead or give us information. And so I think that if you decide to become a professional, you own that. You own what that means and what you represent and how your community views you. And then you make the determination as to how you're going to wield your professional prowess to benefit others. And you can choose to say, I didn't sign up for all of that. I signed up for X, Y, Z, but in your own way, in your own right. You pretty much have
signed up for it.
Signed up for it. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Maybe unintentionally, but you still signed up.
But you signed up for it.
Signed up.
And so in our spaces, that's what we should be doing, having these conversations or at Thanksgiving dinner, figuring out what our family thinks, what our friends think. Every year when it comes time for election, my friends text me, who should I vote for? Now, I try to give them the information on the people so they can make that, sometimes like, I don't want to hear all that, just tell me, but I try to say, hey,
they trust you.
They trust me. This is the information I know about this person. This is the information I know about that person. Go on and make your choice from there. But we're in those spaces. And so in those spaces, we take on a certain responsibility because we're there.
Absolutely. So as we close, what is your take on it?
Ooh, I'm still upset about Georgia. I can't even talk about that. They did have, today was early voting. They had over 500 people there ready to vote today.
Oh, wow.
So that made my heart happy.
Yeah.
Politics for me has always been a touchy subject. I am a political scientist, so I look at it sometimes from a different view than other people, and I can weigh the pros and the cons. But a lot of people, unintentionally, I signed up for a two-piece. So my degree, yes, is political science. But sometimes in spaces, I would discuss politics with people and they would become emotional. That's not a piece of it for me. And I know it can be very emotional. There's some people I will not answer because they have their personal stance and they're making it emotional. And I just read. You have to read. If you want to know something, read. The information is out there. We find information for everything else. I know our Pinterest, 10 outfits, 50 recipes, and some more stuff. But you just have to take the time and kind of educate yourself because I'm going to see you. We deserve what's best for us. And people have to stop voting against their own interests because of some underlying bias they may have for the potential candidate. Because it's ridiculous to vote against yourself. And stop with all the other rhetoric and just pay attention to it. And if it's misinformation or something, I don't really care who tells you what. I will fact check because just because you said it doesn't make it true. But then when you do fact check, go to a reliable source.
That's right.
And in our community, it is a lot of people who maybe not understand, and it is on us, some of the 2%ers and the black women lawyers, but everybody isn't us. And sometimes they get that misinformation out and spread it to you. Now it's a game of telephone. And you just have to ask yourself, first off, that is great that your friends call you and ask you. My friends would never.
That's why I'm asking you, because you in a different group. And I
have to tell my friends, and I love them. Well, no, they'll go vote.
Okay, good.
But, let's not get our news off Facebook. Let's start there. And I hate that, you are still a millennial, even though you try to remove yourself from us. Okay. But you're there. But for the younger millennials, you know, they've grown up with social media, and that's something I did not grow up with. I did not have a MySpace. I can't join in on those cool conversations. Yeah, none of that. I had Facebook when I got to college, when you had to get an invitation from your college to be on Facebook. I did Twitter for all of 30 seconds. Now, I'll post a picture, but that's not a news source, you know. And even with the news sources, still fact check them, because some of them, you know, the anchors get on, they put their own we're biased by nature. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. We're humans, we're biased by nature, but you have to seek the information to want the information to do better by yourself and your community. And then the community engagement, everybody gets excited when it's time to do the big elections. You have to pay attention locally, because that power starts locally and it moves its way up. And I think that that is a big thing that I don't know if most Americans understand, that the president doesn't have as much power as we think, and the power runs from the bottom to the top. And if you can chop the heads off the little serpents locally, they won't make it to the state levels. They won't make it into these positions or in these offices, in these spaces where they're affecting the whole country. But we have to pay attention locally. Civic engagement has to come, but we got to get back to grassroots for real. And you have to have somebody like a Joslyn or a Kahala or a Maurche in your circle who don't want you to be ignorant and want you to be able to be not only a facilitator for yourself, but for those coming behind you, because you want to leave this space in a better space than it was when you entered the room. And I know sitting at this table, we've all stood in rooms where people tried to figure out how we got there, not underestimating our intellect or whatever. They just have some preconceived notions. But when we come in the door, we done all left it open for somebody else to walk through. And we have to use that same translation when it comes to politics. I learned it, so I want you to learn it, so you can do better, so you can teach them, and we can truly teach what democracy is. It has become tainted because it was never pure. And everybody participates, has some type of agenda, whether or not, you know, it's intentional, unintentional. Maybe it's the best thing for them, but not the best for everybody. So let's dissect the whole person. And then also stop letting people personal lives. Sometimes personal and politics don't go hand in hand. And where I might disagree with you on a personal level, I might fully understand you on a business level. But it's just taking the time to really educate yourself about who people are, what policy really means, how this law may affect me in this situation, and things like that. I'm off my tangent.
No, that was
Listen,
awesome.
great tangent.
It was. And you said so much. It was awesome, and you said so much, both of you. And I think the three of us have peeled back a layer.
Yes.
That now we can digest and we can discuss further as we move forward in the coming days, weeks, and months that will turn into the next 2 years. And we can try to, with our community, collaborate on some efforts to be able to provide the education that we know that our community needs.
That's right.
Yes.
But thank you so much. This was so awesome.
Oh,
this
thank
was so
you.
awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
appreciate you sharing your business, some jewels of your business, and how you have just been able to turn into this dynamic trio. It was the dynamic duo.
Yeah.
And have turned into the dynamic trifecta, and we've gone from She-Hulk to Voltron, and we will be getting together, obviously, sooner than later, all of us together. But I appreciate you both so much. I love you both, like everything that you're doing, everything that you are, from the internal to the external. You both are absolutely beautiful, and I don't know what I would do with y'all. And I tell them all the time, y'all ain't gonna never get rid of me.
We wouldn't even try.
I know. For
And
real.
you won't. And of course you'll be back, because there's always so much to discuss, from criminal justice reform to knowing your rights to, you know, business, just whatever. And
Right.
we love to have women, and we love to have black women, and we love to have AKAs and Deltas and Zetas and everybody coming on, and GDIs coming on to talk about all the things that we need to know as a community, and all the things we need to know as women of color. And so I love y'all, and
Oh,
thank you.
thank you.
Love you too.
You forgot to mention I was wearing your pearls.
Oh, yes. Yes, we're going to have to take a picture. So when she was on the inaugural season of Pearls and Politics podcast, here we are in season 3. Unbelievable. And
Crazy.
she's wearing the pearls that I gifted
Yes.
her. on our
Thank
first
you.
episode here with us. I love them.
Thank
They
you.
look beautiful on you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
But thank you again. And thank you for tuning in today to Pros in Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. Again, we wish you and your family the merriest of Christmases and the happiest of New Year's. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. In the meantime, please like, love, share, and subscribe. And we will see you soon.